Right now on the National Weather Desk, the Eclipse Across America is finally here. We have complete coverage across the path of totality to get you ready.
People from all over the country that have been planning for this trip for years in some cases.
We also have important information so you can make sure your eclipse glasses aren't fake.
Even the certifications on some of them can look like the real thing when they are not.
We'll explain the difference between today's eclipse and the one 7 years ago.
Now we're close to what we call solar maximum.
Could the eclipse impact your tech gadgets?
Grid operators might have to draw from reserves during the eclipse's peak.
And turn back the clock to show you how people experienced another solar eclipse back in the 1950s.
From the National Weather Desk, this is live coverage of the Eclipse Across America.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Mark Pena. The day people have been anticipating for nearly 7 years is finally here. It's Eclipse Day across the country, and we have you covered across the entire path of totality. The path, of course, stretches from Texas to Maine. Totality first arrives on the U.S.-Mexican border just before 1:30 Central Time. It then takes 68 minutes to cover the path before totality finally ends along Maine's border with Canada. Of course, the weather is a big factor today. Let's start in the south because that's where the weather will play the biggest role. Cloud cover will be a problem across Texas. There's even a risk of storms. As you head into the Midwest, the chance for clear viewing improves. You should have a clear view in southern Illinois, Indiana, and parts of Ohio. Now, that may not be the case in western New York, where cloud cover impacting viewing through Buffalo, Rochester, and even Syracuse. And the best viewing in the country will likely be in northern Maine, where clear blue skies are in the forecast today. And every dot on this map represents a member of our team. Meteorologists and reporters are spread out across the path of totality. Our tour of the country begins in Concan, Texas, and reporter Mandy Noel.
Good morning from Concan. I got to tell you, there are so many people here in town that are here for this eclipse, this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Everyone is excited for it. From the time we checked into our hotel, there's pamphlets and flyers everywhere. It's what all of the people that are staying at the resorts are talking about, even driving through town. There's people walking, they've got their families, people from all over the country that have been planning for this trip for years in some cases. And the excitement, you can just feel it. Everybody is hoping that the skies stay clear for 1:30 today when we are in the path of totality here in Concan and for this total solar eclipse. So let's all keep our fingers crossed that things look good.
And we are pretty lucky that here in the very heart of the city, folks will be able to experience totality for about a minute and 44 seconds. And if you come out here, you don't have to bring your car. It's on the major bus routes. In fact, the buses are already running. And there are other parks and recreation facilities around the city that'll be offering different activities and programs, a place for you to gather. Staying close to home will save you the traffic snarl. Around Austin, transportation officials say major corridors like I-35 and 290 could see gridlock, and that is why neighborhood libraries and parks are offering free eclipse watching events across Austin and Travis County, and they'll also be handing out free eclipse glasses and offering other activities.
We are taking a spin here in Union County. We are at Elger Park in Marysville. Obviously, it is really early, so we've got the place to ourselves. But this is expected to be a really popular spot. Union County tourism officials have been getting ready for today, partnering with other county agencies to get prepared over the course of the last several years, and they are ready. They've got their official county eclipse glasses, magnets, and more, all up for sale. Businesses, too, have been selling eclipse t-shirts. Now, no one with the county could get us an exact estimate of what type of crowd could show up today, pointing to multiple factors, including the weather.
The gates to the Air Force Museum just opened, and let me tell you, people flooded in right behind the camera. There was people waiting. As soon as those gates opened, they drove very fast to get through the gates. You can see people still pulling in now. We know people are flooding into this area. I spoke with a man who told me he came from New Jersey. So we know there's going to be a lot of traffic today. Yesterday, I drove through part of the Eclipse path in Indiana, and there was a 2-hour delay through the stretch of Totality. So you should prepare for those types of waits and long lines of traffic today, especially if you're headed to where I am.
I'm here at the Rochester Museum and Science Center. This is prime viewing location here. Once again, get your glasses ISO certified. We have been talking all things Eclipse this morning. We're getting into more of the economy and how it benefits Rochester. I'm here with Don Jeffries. He is the president and CEO of Visit Rochester. And a lot of people are coming in.
Yes, we think between 300 and 400,000 people in our region, based on what other cities have found.
We've been planning for years now. Are you excited? Today is the big day.
Very excited. It's finally here. You know, we've been planning for this for several years, and it's going to be a great party day in Rochester.
Not only am I going to get to see it, but it's here in town, and we're going to have supposedly beautiful sunny skies.
And the excitement for Holton locals like Grant is twofold. Town leaders are also thrilled by the boost that Eclipse watchers will bring to local businesses.
We knew that there were a lot of people coming home to stay with family and friends. And from what we've gotten anecdotally, we figured that number alone would probably double our population.
Ketch says they're not exactly sure how many people to expect tomorrow, but they think that it'll be in the tens of thousands, and some of those visitors have already arrived.
We got here Friday.
Okay, nice.
Taking in all the events.
It's just going to be something really cool. I've never seen a solar eclipse before anyways, so and getting to see it here is pretty special.
Now, you've no doubt heard it time and time again, looking directly at the eclipse can permanently damage your eyes. If you've purchased eclipse glasses, you need to make sure they're real and not fake ones that could easily be found online. Liz Bonus has the information you need to know.
When it comes to your eyes and what you'll see on the day of the eclipse, you get one pair and no spare. So in this case, it really is buyer beware.
When it comes to total solar eclipse, even though the sun's going to be mostly blocked, there are still UV rays coming down, and so if you look directly into them, it can damage your retina.
Yao Jin is an associate professor of supply chain management at Miami University. He says counterfeit viewers, as they are appropriately called, are not necessarily easy to spot. Well, it's helpful to look at this ISO stamp and information, which means they do offer proper protection. Mr. Jin says even the certifications on some of them can look like the real thing when they are not.
It's the false sense of security that ultimately really matters. When it comes to your eye health, it is not worth it to try to save a buck or two, even if you're only going to use the Eclipse viewer once.
He says if you must buy from an online marketplace, look for evidence of manufacturer authorization. To find out more about that, you can go online.
Now, thousands of people have traveled for today's total eclipse, and some have even come thousands of miles. Daniel Finkelstein has the Rochester Airport talking to travelers, some of whom quite literally traveled from around the world.
After a 27-hour trip, Sally McFarlane arrived to the Greater Rochester International Airport from Cape Town, South Africa. On her way, she even experienced the 4.8 magnitude earthquake in New York City.
I'm pretty exhausted, but I came in here, I saw the prepare for the eclipse on the 8th. There's a sign up there, and I'm absolutely thrilled. I saw my brother, and I can't wait.
Eclipse chasers Lori and Robert Paz came all the way from California.
Yeah, I think everyone should experience an eclipse at least once in their life, a total eclipse. It's like I said, it's just an amazing astronomical event.
The eclipse bringing families together, like Kate McKay's.
We have family flying in from other parts of the country, too, to come up and see it.
And Phyllis Brown's. Her son organized a family reunion, inviting everyone.
It's turned out quite a few people are joining us here for the eclipse. We'll be out on Lake Ontario, east of Rochester, and it'll be fun no matter what.
Reuniting was the common theme, a total solar eclipse here in Rochester, giving everyone a reason to come together.
And we are going to have 3 hours of live coverage of the eclipse as we track it from Texas to Maine. Join us live from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Just check your local listings to find out where to watch in your area, or live on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Just search the National Weather Desk. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll continue our countdown to today's eclipse with a look at how technology is allowing the visually impaired to enjoy the big event.
Meteorologist Emily Santom. Let's take a look at the Northeast for highs for today. Mostly in Maine and New Hampshire and Massachusetts, we're looking at low 50s, 47 up in Caribou, Maine for the solar eclipse. 70s over in New York, we're looking around 75 for Syracuse, 72 for Buffalo, 75 for New York City. We'll start to see some clouds come into New York. Temperatures still into the 50s, but by solar eclipse time, we're looking at best views possible in northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and over in Maine.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at your weather across the mid-Atlantic region. We're looking at mostly clear skies through the time of the eclipse. Very good news. We'll be able to see most of what's going on. There will be some pockets of clouds. We're talking 30 to perhaps 50% coverage. A few showers move through after the fact, with better rain chances coming as we head later into the week. Temperatures are going to soar this week a little bit here. We'll likely hit the 60s, no problem, on Monday. 70s on tap for Tuesday.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. Here's a look at your southeast forecast highs. We're looking at 75 Nashville, 77 in Raleigh, 80 Birmingham, 85 in Tampa, 77 in West Palm. We do have a few scattered showers that is going to kind of give a hard time for folks across Tennessee, up around northern Georgia for the viewing of the eclipse, down over parts of Mississippi and eastern Texas. But over southern Georgia and also along the Carolinas, it looks pretty good through the afternoon. Just a few high clouds over Florida. Looks like we'll get that front pushing through late week.
Welcome back. We have been talking a lot this morning about what we can expect to see a little later today during the eclipse, but we want to give you a reminder of what exactly needs to happen for a total solar eclipse to take place. To do that, we turn to meteorologist John Gum.
Well, it's a precise alignment of the Earth, of the sun, and most importantly, the thing that makes this all go is the position of the moon. Yeah, the moon is very important because it aligns itself in between the sun and the Earth, and all these things have to come together just right. The moon has to be on the same plane as the Earth's orbit. That's something that doesn't happen very often because those angles are usually slightly off. Not only does it have to be on the same plane as the Earth's orbit, the moon has to be in what we call the new moon phase. And in addition to that, the moon has to be at its closest point to the Earth in its orbit. So when all of these things come together just right, the moon's shadow is cast on the Earth. And if you're in totality, you not only see the moon shadow, it looks like the sun is being completely blotted out of the sky. You can only see the corona of the sun then. There is the path of totality as it'll make its way across the country. And if you're in that path of totality and the skies are clear, it is going to be quite the show coming up.
The last time the U.S. saw a total solar eclipse was in 2017, and that has a lot of people asking if this will be any different. Meteorologist Amy Aronson spoke with a scientist from NASA Goddard Space Center to find out.
And this is going to be even better than what was seen in 2017. Why is that?
I'd like to think so, yes, because the sun has this like 11-year cycle of activity, and 2017 was closer to the minimum. So the activity is driven by magnetism, the sun's magnetic field, so it's simpler. It was 2017, whereas now we're close to what we call solar maximum. There's more magnetic activity on the sun. And the corona is going to be that much more dynamic, more complex because of those magnetic fields coming from the sunspots, and it's going to look cool.
Even cooler. Okay,
Even cooler.
So obviously that's what's going to be seen in that path of totality. What about the people not included in that path, like in Maryland, for example? What will you say here?
Not enough. Sorry. In Maryland, in Baltimore, it's going to be about 87% blocked out, so the sun is going to look like a sliver moon, like a couple of days after the new moon, and really that's not enough. You're still going to be the sun's still going to be too bright. You're going to need the glasses to look at the sun, and you're not going to see the corona. And really, the corona is what you want to see.
What a bummer.
What a bummer. Yes.
What a bummer indeed. Many states across the country are putting a unique technology into place that will help bring the eclipse into view for the blind. Rodney Dunnigan is in Ohio with some insights on how this technology will make this historic event enjoyable for everyone.
Bringing history to life through sound. Lieutenant Governor John Husted joining a team at Alum Creek State Park Thursday for a one-of-a-kind demonstration.
It's kind of a day of celebration, something that's literally a once-in-a-lifetime event since the last time it happened was 200 years ago.
Technology that will help the blind or those with low vision to take in Monday's solar eclipse.
There's a lot of excitement around it. It's really a neat thing.
These light sound devices will be placed at 29 ODNR locations across the state. This tool is a part of the Light Sound Project, developed by a team from Harvard back in 2017, all for this year's solar eclipse. Teams and workshops putting the devices together to be donated to the visually impaired. The device converts light intensity data into audible tunes, allowing users to perceive changes as the moon eclipses the sun.
But this device, when the light passes over it, it changes tones.
The tech allowing those without sight to still take in the eclipse. Around 275,000 people statewide are blind or have low vision.
Now, when the solar eclipse takes place, there could be things happening other than just a great view of the sky. The moon blocking out the sun could have major impacts on our tech gadgets. Hallie Jacobs spoke with an expert to find out what we can expect to happen.
Clearly, with any duration of lack of sunlight or clouds, right, it's the same idea.
Because solar power production falls quickly during this period, grid operators might have to draw from reserves during the eclipse's peak, which could put stress on the electrical transmission lines. The eclipse also messes with the upper atmosphere, where many radio waves travel. So when the sun's rays suddenly drop, so could the signal for your radio and GPS, which could spell trouble for travelers.
Because they're concerned about not only navigation, but traffic and being able to tell where the traffic is. Many of us use Waze now and can, we'll adjust where we're going to go.
As a backup, he either recommends printing out your directions or downloading them through your map app. Now for Apple Maps, you can do this by searching up where you want to go. In this case, let's say Erie, PA, and you just hit the download button.
We're confident that it's going to perform beautifully throughout the eclipse.
But Verizon says they're confident in their 5G network.
In areas where people are going to populate to gather in big groups for this event, we're actually confident that the capacity we've layered into the network over the last few years will accommodate any increases in data usage.
However, scientists are hoping the eclipse can also help us improve our technology.
The technology to analyze what's the difference between different frequencies and different locations of satellites and how that's impacted by this drop in charge in the ionosphere from the lack of sunlight.
An eclipse is a rare event that brings with it a lot of anticipation. And in 1953, 5 different eclipses took place. And while not all of them were total solar eclipses, they still generated a lot of excitement. Meteorologist Tony Martin looks at how folks back then took in the views.
A lot of interesting things happened in 1953. A polio vaccine was developed. The Korean War came to an end. Dwight Eisenhower was inaugurated as president, and Queen Elizabeth II was crowned Queen of England. Perhaps some of the biggest spectacles that year were the 5 eclipses that were visible across a large part of the globe, 3 being solar and 2 total lunar eclipses. While it's not uncommon to have 5 in a year, it is somewhat rare to have 2 total lunar eclipses in a 12-month period. You're looking at footage from the summer of 1953 solar eclipse. People were getting a look at the second of 3 solar eclipses that year by ground and even by plane. This was the most full solar eclipse of the year in 1953, with about 90% of the sun obscured at one point. It was most visible across northern and western North America. Earth experiences 4 eclipses a year on average, 2 solar and 2 lunar. But we can have 5 solar eclipses in 1 month. The last time that happened was in 1935. The next time for that, 2206.
And as we head to break, let's look back at the views of the eclipse from 2017.
Well, a very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. A little wet weather across the northern plains for the day today. The eclipse will be happening, path of totality going about right where my hand is, and we've got some pretty decent weather across the Midwest to check out the total solar eclipse happening today. Tomorrow, rain starts moving in a little bit more. The plains, pretty quiet for the day tomorrow, but more rain will be filling in for the Ohio Valley heading into your Wednesday.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at our forecast across the region. Solar eclipse day. We'll start with low-level clouds across Texas. More clear skies, though, Oklahoma and Arkansas. So here's the eclipse time frame around 1:30 to 2. We will have mainly cloudy conditions across South Texas. Some breaks in the clouds as you head towards North Texas, and partly sunny skies throughout Arkansas. After the eclipse, it's severe weather chances, especially across North Texas and southern Oklahoma. All modes of severe weather will be possible.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. Temperatures gradually warming up again from California up into the Pacific Northwest. But as we move from temperatures into an incoming storm, it is a warm front, and we've got rain at times with mountain snow tracking into the Pacific Northwest with scattered rain showers in the afternoon from much of the mountain areas of the Southwest. That's the scene from here.
As we mentioned, proper eyewear for the eclipse is important, but for young kids, it can be hard keeping those glasses on. Meteorologist Jeff Exline posted on TikTok yesterday to demonstrate how you can get a unique viewing with some common household items.
Now, if you don't have one of these approved glasses for viewing the eclipse, use one of these, a spaghetti colander. If you don't have a colander, how about a cheese grater? Why?
check this out. Look at the shadow. Now see the shadow on the ground? See how we see all those little circles? Tomorrow during the eclipse, as long as the clouds don't cause us too many problems, you'll be able to watch the eclipse happen. Instead of those full circles, you'll see like a crescent as the moon goes in between the sun and the earth. So get out those solar glasses, your colanders, or your cheese graters, and let's hope for some breaks in the clouds come Monday.
And a reminder again about our 3 hours of live coverage of the eclipse today from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Check your local listings for where to watch in your area, or you can catch it live on our YouTube channel. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. Head over to YouTube at 1 o'clock Eastern to check out our live special of the Eclipse Across America. We'll have meteorologists covering the events from Texas to Maine. I'm meteorologist Mark Pena. Make it a great Monday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.